Guys, it has taken an entire off season, a whole summer, all of winter, but we are finally here. The NFL regular season opening day is finally upon us, guys. Thursday night, Rams, Bills. Wow. I can't believe it. I'm excited for this opening day matchup, but you are listening to the Fumblerooski podcast by Power 88 and Fans Only Sports Network. I'm Adam Wright with CJ Medeiros. Guys, we have a great episode planned for you guys. So we're going to get into we're going to focus kind of a little bit more on this episode on game day traditions for NFL fans rather than looking at the NFL itself, because it's opening day. I want to hear what you guys, you know, let's talk a little bit about this thing through the NFL fan. What kind of traditions? But we do have some announcements for our show. So we are going to be starting fantasy football leagues, and we've already drafted in one for our listeners. So essentially, so you guys will have a chance to win $100, no buy-in required. So our next draft is Wednesday at 9. So you guys just DM and we'll send you the invite. I believe it'll be about somewhere around 18 teams, but chance to win $100. And you guys don't have to commit anything at all. So scores every week will be mentioned on our show. So you guys will get basically built-in shout outs every week through fantasy football. And we get to tell you if we get to tell everybody if your team just completely destroyed somebody, just absolutely walloped them. But we'll also be doing our own fantasy football segment where we're going to give you stardom situms, sleepers, streamers, all of that. We're going to give you injury news, all that stuff. So we did tell you guys that we would hook you up with fantasy football, and that is what we're doing this season. We want to tap into the fantasy football world. You guys want to hear some fantasy stuff. So we'll give you some fantasy advice, and you get to play football. You get to play fantasy football along with having the chance to get some money out of it. So great deal for you guys. In other announcements, Thursday episodes are now going to be on Fridays. So we did have Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we kind of had that throughout the summer. But the problem with that is it's too close together. Tuesday, and then there's one day between, then there's Thursday. Not much happens between then. So we'll have that. We still have our guest segments. So going to be a great season, you guys, and I'm excited to get started. But CJ, let's jump right into our content. So starting off with talking about our game day traditions. What is your ideal NFL Sunday experience?
Well, Adam, you see, usually, well, more often than not, I like to watch games with my dad. You see, when I'm not in college, I'm at home, and my dad and my stepmom and we go all out. We have like this whole man cave, like wall to wall with Boston sports memorabilia. We play music and have like cool lights and like sound effects and stuff that we play, and like we have like wings and cheeses and meats and vegetables and chips and stuff. It's great. And Adam, let me just say that is my favorite tradition, and it sucks that you can't be with us because you would love it. I am not kidding. And seriously though, next time you find yourselves, where I am, just come on down. It's awesome. Like you gotta trust me on this. So basically, like I said, just have food. So my dad, he plays music and stuff. It's awesome. Hey Adam, you're muted.
Whoops. I love a good hangout around the house, have a bunch of people over, enjoy some good game day food. But you know what my favorite game day tradition is? So my ideal NFL Sunday, and I used to do this a lot. I love just going into a sports bar. A lot of the times it ends up being Buffalo Wild Wings, but it works out. It's a convenient spot. Good deals on Tuesdays and Thursdays for wings. But yeah, just going, like, my ideal Sunday, definitely just being at a sports bar and being there all day, just being there all day and then just enjoying having some wings and watching all the football. So just starting the 1 o'clock games, 4:30 games, even prime time. I just want to watch all of it, sit down, enjoy with my friends, of course. I know I'm not going here alone. But just enjoying that with my friends and just being out, having a few beers, having some wings. That's what I enjoy on that's what I want to do on NFL Sundays. Of course, it doesn't always work out that way. Family get-togethers, apple picking, all that stuff, obligations, work sometimes. It doesn't always work that way, but if I have the time and I have the option and I have the money, that's typically what I like to do. So, something like that. But have anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, actually, you see, Adam, you are a much better person than me for letting prior obligations get in the way of football. It's like, or sometimes a friend calls, they want to hang out. Like, sorry, no, 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 no. In fact, there was a time I was in high school and I had like this friend group. They're like, hey, we're all going to meet up on Sunday. I'm like, can't, football. No, and that's the thing. I'm not kidding. It's like, oh, but we're going to say, no, 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 no. I'm sorry. My office hours on Sunday. Like, nah, not available. And if you text me during the game, I will not ever be your friend. I have literally cut ties with and never spoken to people again for far less. I'm joking though. Like, don't worry. But seriously though, if you text me during game day, I'm not going to respond for like a while.
Listen, but so if your friends are like they don't want to I like hanging out with my friends on game day. I find that to be enjoyable.
Also,
But
I'm just saying. I
if
was
they
just
want
saying
to
like
do
the.
something
Never mind.
other than watching football on that day, I'm like, get your priorities straight, man.
Yes, exactly. And I want to point out that group I was referring to, like, they didn't like watch football. So it's like, well, that's gonna be fun for me.
It's like, yeah, I don't think those guys are your real friends, man.
Well, I
I
don't talk
don't.
to them anymore, so
Well, they're probably out enjoying like soccer or something.
no, they're not
Or,
even like sports people.
uh damn, how'd you become friends with these people?
That's a story for another time.
Dang, I wouldn't even. I'm obviously joking. So, but definitely on Sundays, if I have the option to go out, or even I like your idea too, just to like sit in and like enjoy like time with friends and family and have some food at home. That's fun. In fact, I kind of prefer it on Super Bowl Sunday, just sitting around with friends. You remember, I had you over with a few of my friends,
Ah,
and
yes, fun times.
yeah, we had some wings. It snowed a lot, and we had
Yeah,
to
and we
all
all
leave
had to
early. But
yeah, because you live on a hill, and if you're going down that, in the ice and snow, you're basically taking your life into your own hands.
yeah, that is correct. So it was unfortunately it only lasted a half, but Super Bowl Sundays are kind of a different animal. But typical NFL Sundays, I just love watching a sports bar. It's just that's just my thing. But moving on, I want to go to another thing, another tradition. I want to go into some experiences. So CJ, what is your best NFL Sunday experience? Like in just individual experiences. We're going into anecdotal stuff.
Wow. Oh, my best Sunday experience. Like, is this like regular game, Super Bowl?
Anything, just any I'm Sunday Super Bowl Sundays are always the best, but
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
just best experience.
Okay, so it was the 2019 season, right? And I went to the Patriots Cowboys game. And fun fact, our college that we go to, for like first year students, they do like these like discovery days and stuff. And I actually won a raffle that gave us tickets and like tailgate passes to that game. And
Yeah,
we got to go to the Patriots like Empower Fieldhouse where they like were all like the VIPs where they're like former players and stuff you could talk to, and it was a lot of fun. Then you got to the game, the Patriots won. It was like the only good game N'Keal Harry ever had, And that was like a lot of fun. It really truly was. I was like so just happy there. And just getting to go to a game live, getting to go to the field house because you won the tickets, that was just wonderful.
Yeah, and didn't you meet some players as well? I
Yeah,
think you mentioned you did you meet did you meet did you meet Matt Slater?
no,
Or was
no,
it somebody else?
oh no, I met our old uh one of our old tackles, Chris Sullivan. I got to try on a Super Bowl ring too, and one of our safeties from the '90s, Terry Ray.
Okay. There you go. Met some players. Should have gotten their digits. Get them on the Fumblerooski show.
Well, I didn't even know you back then, man.
I know, of course. Um, all right. So my best experience, and this is kind of over a stretch of time. So there were a few times we were able to do this, but me and my buddy, we were in the same fantasy football league, and this is going to drip in to bleed into my ideal Sunday. But what we did was we would always go to Buffalo Wild Wings every Sunday because we were in the same fantasy league. And the one that was close to me, they always had all these different games on different screens. So, like, we went there and we just watched football all day. And so I worked, so I work at a local YMCA as a lifeguard, and I'd be done around like 12:30, which gave me time to get to the spot where I wanted to go to watch games. And we would just meet up and I'd just watch football all day and we'd enjoy some wings and it was a great time. I wasn't legal to drink yet, so I couldn't do that. But it was just a great experience and just being able I that's like I said, that is my thing to do. Just be in a sporty sport fan like atmosphere, if you will, and just watch all the games and just enjoy it. Pay attention to your fantasy team, have some wings, and now I can have drinks because I'm 22 years old. But that was definitely my favorite. I think we did that for like a 4 week stretch where just every week we would just go and watch football, and that was a great time. But CJ, I want to move
Yes.
on. Give me your worst NFL Sunday experience. So we talked about our ideal Sundays, best NFL experience. What's your worst? What is one time where just everything went wrong?
Oh boy, if there's a certain someone who is there that's listening to it, I'm sorry in advance. I really am. So, it was my freshman year of high school, which was the 2016 season. The Patriots ended up winning the Super Bowl over Atlanta that year. And as you know, Tom Brady was serving a 4-game suspension and he was going to come back. We were playing like the Browns. It was like the perfect team, just to wail on. And then I was against my will they're like taking a family trip to like Canada, I think, or somewhere like that, where they don't watch football. They drink syrup and legalize euthanasia and other things that I don't agree with. But
Yeah.
and I like the reception there is terrible because it's Canada. And I don't know what's going on, but thankfully my dad was back home and like texting me updates, and I saw the final stat line and how like Brady coming back just like pile drove the Browns. Like it wasn't close, and I know like Martellus Bennett had like 3 touchdowns or something like that. It was just wonderful, and I didn't get to see his comeback, and it still hurts me to this day.
At least you got to watch the CFL.
Oh no, 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 no.
Hey man, football's football. They measure in I believe they measure in meters, don't they?
I don't know.
Well, the only country that does yards is the U.S. So it must be that. I don't know too much about the CFL, but it's uh it's a different world out there, and of course they're not. I mean, I'm sure there's NFL. I'm sure there's NFL fans out there, but They probably don't always get the luxury of turning on the TV to Patriots Dolphins or Rams Bills, like what we're getting tomorrow. So the episode,
Yeah.
so this episode's going to be published today, which is Tuesday, and then so we got 2 days until the NFL season is starting.
Yeah, and
But
also, Adam, I just want to say I have nothing against the country of Canada. I joke, I kid.
I know. We won't cancel you. We're fine. We just
Yeah, you
we
better
just
not,
like it here.
people. Yeah,
Just like it here. There's nothing wrong with Canada. A lot of wilderness out there. That's yeah. But all right. So worst NFL Sunday experience. So, as I said before, things don't always work out the way you want it to on a Sunday. You don't always get to watch football. A lot of times you get family obligations. And a lot of the time, like most of the time when you have those, you can at least check on your phone. You'll have service. You could watch it somewhere in the background. You'll still be able to watch football. With this, it was not the case. So, we were at my my aunt and uncle's house, and they were celebrating my little cousin's first birthday. And this was during the 2014 NFL season. It was Patriots Vikings, and they apparently destroyed them. But I couldn't find out until after the party, so I could not watch football because number one, they're hockey fans. They live in New Hampshire. Hockey's pretty big around there, up north. And nobody, I wasn't able to use my phone because they knew I was gonna look. So, and it wasn't on a TV anywhere. So I could not watch football, and I had to watch my little cousin tear apart this tiny cake and not even eat it, just smear it all over his face. I'm like, come on, man. I'm watching, I could be watching Tom Brady just rip apart the Vikings. I could at least look. I mean, I understand. I have some family obligations. I have a heart, but I couldn't at least track what was happening. I couldn't do anything like that. It was bad, man. It was that was an NFL Sunday to forget, and I could not watch any football that day. But yeah, that was definitely my worst. So one of us was in Canada, the other had a family obligation. So we've had some rough experiences on NFL Sundays. The Fumblerooski podcast can't always be covering the Sunday football.
Yeah, wait, Adam.
We'll do our best.
Yeah,
What's up?
I just realized that this is what we consider a rough Sunday. I think we're pretty lucky. Like everything considered,
Well, through an NFL perspective.
Okay, yeah, through an NFL
whether or not we're
perspective.
able to watch our football and enjoy, have our favorite experiences like that. I mean, people have had worse days. If they can't watch their football, then there's other things to be worried about. I'm just talking about through football, a couple of NFL fans, people who are looking for something in a career path, covering them, and it becomes a problem when you can't cover them and when you're not able to watch. So that's all I'm saying. Obviously people have experienced worse things, but I want to transition over to some more towards the field now, since we've kind of just talked about ourselves and our own experiences with just watching football, but Super Bowl predictions. So what we originally planned was while we did our player rankings and division previews and all that stuff, that we would finish that off with Super Bowl predictions, but that also finish right before preseason, and preseason injuries are a real thing. So I thought, okay, how about we save this for right before opening day? So this is that episode, Super Bowl predictions. So CJ, who's your matchup? Who's your winner? Go.
Okay, real quick. It's gotta be, when you think about matchups, correct me if I'm wrong. It's gotta be Falcons, Texans. No. I'm joking. In all fairness, is probably Bills, Rams, in my opinion. And I'm leaning just a little bit toward Buffalo.
Okay. Yeah. So Rams. Yeah. And I might have to go Rams too to represent.
Yeah.
But The Buffalo Bills. That is a sleeper team to win the Super Bowl. Yet another time where an AFC East team wins. Usually it's a team that's wearing different colors, or at least a different color scheme. They kind of have similar colors to the Patriots.
Red, white, and blue.
Kind of red, white, and blue a little bit. But I mean, the Patriots are the Patriots. We are all Patriots.
Yeah.
That was cheesy. But so my Super Bowl prediction. So I think I'm going to pick the Broncos, another team that had a newly acquired quarterback to go to a Super Bowl in their first year with them. So last year it was Matthew Stafford with the Rams. The year before it was Tom Brady with the Buccaneers. The Broncos recently acquired Russell Wilson to join a roster that already was good and young and had plenty of potential and was a quarterback away. Now they have him. And Russell Wilson is a guy who's not only competes his ass off, but he has a Super Bowl ring. So I really like the Broncos. I think they're growing on me. I think I'm going to pick them to go to the Super Bowl, and I have to pick the Rams to go to represent the NFC. And I think between those two teams, I think there's a reason why it's been a while since a team has won back-to-back. Teams have gone to back-to-back Super Bowls, which is what you and I are predicting, but something is going to go wrong. Something. And I'm going to take the Denver Broncos to win the Super Bowl. Book it. Book it.
All right.
So, there we go. That is CJ picked Bills over the Rams, and I got Broncos over Rams. So Rams are our unanimous MVP pick. We'll have to ask Tuck. Tuck's been busy with football, so we'll ask him next time he's on the show. We'll say, "Hey, what's your Super Bowl prediction?" But all right. I want to move on to our Fumblerooski fan box where we asked you guys who your Super Bowl picks are. So what we do is we post a question filter on our Instagram every Monday, and you can respond with hot takes, questions, and more, and we will discuss it and give you a shout out on our podcast. Respond to next week's fan box question to be featured on our show. So our question of the week was, who is winning Super Bowl 57? All right, so going into these predictions, I'm going to start off with, hang on, just pulling them up. All right, Grayson Mortimer said Buffalo. So another one where the Bills win. Bills are a good pick. I like them. Sleeper pick, Chargers, goes Cash Withers. So yeah, I only hesitate because their coach is so stupid. Like it just doesn't work out. And like they're loaded to the gills with talent. And if they had better coaching, I would say, yeah, that team's slam dunk. But I just don't think they will. Aaron Wiseman said New York Jets. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know.
Up and coming team. They have some young talent. And if Zach Wilson can play, maybe they're a year or two off. Maybe a couple more than that. But they're trending in the right direction. Jack Breel said Cowboys. So I think you responded to this on the social media page. You said it's their year, and then in parentheses again.
You know how they are. This is our year. Yeah, you've been saying that since like 2000, and yet here we are.
And they have talent on their team. Just the issue is they have less of it than they did last year. And last year it wasn't enough for even a playoff victory in the wild card round of the playoffs against a team that they probably should have beaten. So now best case scenario is they stay the same. Connor Fallon said Rams. So yeah, they could. Again, it's tough to win back-to-back Super Bowls, and we're seeing that each and every year. I mean, we see a team that looks good the next year after they win the Super Bowl, and we think they're going to do it again, and then they don't. And what was the last team to go to back-to-back? I think it was It was the Patriots, correct? No. It was the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think.
Chiefs. And they had a team to possibly do it. That team was loaded. Problem is they ran into some injury troubles on the offensive line, and the Buccaneers exploited it. So after that, it was the Patriots in 2017 and 2017. So this was an interest. This one's an outlier. But the New England Patriots, they went in 2016, they won. Then they went in 2017 and they lost because their secondary got weaker, mainly because of Bill Belichick's poor decision. I can't say stupidity because he's probably smarter than me.
Mm.
And probably like about 75% of the population, but and then after that, but then they went back again and they won it. So yeah, I mean that's another example, not back to back. We can talk about the Seahawks, but they didn't run the ball on that one play. They came close, but they couldn't do it. No cigar. But yeah, it's tough for the Rams, and I don't know. Stephen Parker said Bengals. So I love what the Bengals did, but here's another stat that really just doesn't help on the Bengals' part. Like young quarterbacks who lose Super Bowls, number one, most of them never go back for some reason. And on top of that, teams who lose the Super Bowl typically don't go back, let alone win. All right. Nathan Merwitz said Los Angeles Chargers. So we kind of touched on this already. Team that has all the talent in the world. They could do it, but they won't because their coach is going to get in the way. So their best chance might be fire your coach midseason.
Perhaps.
Isaac Zonana. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but he said Finns with like 5 S's. It's all going to depend on Tua. It's all going to depend on him. And I wonder how this new coach is going to do for him. JZ8 Hockey said Bills. That's a good team, good coaching, good talent, just about everywhere. Their secondary got slightly weaker, but I can see them going. I can see them doing it. Luke Banning said, hope I'm wrong, but Bucks. You probably will be. Coming from a guy who's really rooting for Tom Brady to win a Super Bowl in potentially his last season, age 45 year. That offensive line is just so banged up. I just can't see it with them. And maybe they make some moves. Maybe some practice squad or backup guy steps up and they actually pull something off. But Tom Brady can pick apart any defense, but he can't do it when he has a defender in his face every single play.
Yeah.
Jack Grobb said Browns. And you can make the argument if Deshaun Watson was going to start a full year. Just he's going to be out for 11 games. So it depends on how confident you are in Jacoby Brissett and on whether or not when Deshaun Watson comes back, he can just hit the ground running. So we'll see on that part. Landon Weber said Chargers. Again, I'm going to keep hammering this point. Their coaching is a big-time Achilles heel for them, and they continuously get in the way. Like, they've had a lot of talent over the past couple of years, but they haven't even mustered a playoff spot, despite having one of the better young quarterbacks in the game. All right. Tyson Tate said biased Minnesota, unbiased Minnesota.
Can you tell he's a Vikings fan?
My unbiased opinion of Kirk Cousins won't win you a Super Bowl. Biased won't win you a Super Bowl. But just kidding, Tyson. But I'm not kidding. But all love. Robert Canedo said Rams go back to back. So again, it's going to be tough for them to win back to back. They have the talent, and they've kind of gotten better in some spots, got a little weaker in others. So we'll see how things go for them. Patrick Williver said, "We dem boys," in other words, Cowboys. Look, I don't hate the Cowboys as much as a lot of people do. I don't. I think their fans can be delusional sometimes, but the team doesn't really, most of the time, does not bring it upon themselves. It's the fans who kind of put the spotlight on them. But still, they're best they can do is stay the same as they are. They've lost too much. So Brady Kudo said, "My Las Vegas Raiders," with 8 S's. The Raiders are a team that, yeah, they have talent. They've gotten a lot better, and they're coming off a playoff spot, which is crazy to think because they are projected by many to be the last place team. They look the weakest out of that division, but that's the team that's coming off a playoff berth. So, like, the problem is their offensive line is still spotty, and their secondary is also just
Also, I just want to say this. Speaking as a Pats fan, I don't know about McDaniels. I really don't. Enjoy your screen passes on 3rd and 10.
Yeah. All right. So Bryant Johnson said Buffalo. So again, we covered that one. The Bills are a team that top to bottom, that's a solid contender. I like it. I like that one. So I don't know who's Slada G.
I really don't know.
All right. Well, that's what it says. SLATUH_G. He said Saints. And they just lose their they just lost their first round tackle who was supposed to replace Terran Armstead.
Oh,
I believe he's going. Huh?
I said Trevor Penning, you mean?
Yeah. I think they just lost him to an injury, did they not?
I don't know.
I think he's going on IR too. Like, he got hurt. So that's going to be tough.
Well, he needs foot surgery, so I don't know. Tore a ligament in his foot. They said he could return eventually, but we don't know.
Eventually? That doesn't sound very optimistic. I don't like they have revamped their team, and I'm surprised because they had a lot of work to do and they did address everything. But I'm also not sure about Jameis Winston. Like, we haven't seen him play at his best, and I want to see how he is at his best. And yeah, I guess he did last season, but we didn't get a good sample size of it. And plus, they didn't have the best targets for him. So I kind of want to see how he does when he's at his best, and if he will ever be at his best, because he may be without his left tackle.
Yeah.
Ian Mulhern said Rams go back to back. So there's another Rams team. So yeah, they could. They've improved. What I really like is that they upgraded the wide receiver 2 position for them, and they added a guy who, on many teams, would be a wide receiver 1 in Allen Robinson, to add on to Cooper Kupp, who is the wide receiver 1 in all of football. So it's a possibility. I question their running back core, though. That is one thing I also look at, because Cam Akers. Like, if you look at the history of running backs who have torn their Achilles, I don't think anyone ever has been able to be the same guy right after. They usually either out of the league or they just kind of bounce around and they become journeymen. So Cash Drassen said Rams. So we got a lot of Rams picks, and like I said, they could. They have the talent. They're probably top to bottom the best looking team in the league. Just, I feel like something's going to go wrong there because it's hard to win back to back. Injuries, something happens. Bennett Graff said Red Sox, obviously, no contest. Has to be the best team out there, right? Best NFL team.
Yeah. I agree. NFL, the National Frisbee League. Everyone loves, Red Sox, best Frisbee team ever. No, I'm joking.
Xander Bogaerts is a great wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
I bet he'd make a good wide receiver. And honestly, as somebody who played baseball, do you think that Do you think that outfielders could make good wide receivers since they have to track down those baseballs when they're hit out in the outfield?
And it depends on their route running, I suppose. I mean, speed, we've seen like slow receivers like be decent, but I feel like a lot of it's route running.
Yeah, you got to get open. All
Kill
right.
Harry.
And Daniel Blaziak said, Bills overrated, they missing playoffs. So didn't really answer our question, but I don't think they're overrated. How are they
They're
missing the
perfectly
playoffs?
rated. The only way Buffalo misses the playoffs is if they're like the Ravens last year and like half their team like is on season-ending IR.
That's like that's a hot take. Like that's a very hot take.
Yeah.
I just would love an explanation as to why they're overrated because they have talent everywhere on the everywhere on the field. Cindy Medeiros said Patriots, all caps, 2 exclamation points.
I wish.
I like the spirit for our favorite team, but
I don't know about that.
maybe in a few years once they get their offensive coordinator situation shored up, they get their offensive line worked on. Well, their offensive line's fine right now. Their defense needs work.
Yeah.
Particularly in the linebacking core, front seven, and in the cornerback core. So essentially
Everywhere but safety.
Everywhere but safety. Their safety position is actually pretty good.
Also, our defensive tackles aren't that bad with Barmore and Godchow.
Yeah, I guess you're right. So their run defense looks all right, and kind of we don't need to break down the whole Patriots roster, but I just they're gonna need a few years. Ben Farina said Chiefs.
I wonder why.
If Patrick Mahomes could win a Super Bowl with the team he has now, then I think his success in the past few years has been validated.
Yep.
Because that's kind of been the one knock on Patrick Mahomes is that he's working with a great offense around him, working with a lot of weapons. So if he's able to do it with a kind of a lack of weapons, I wouldn't even say a lack, less than, it's not loaded. I'll say it's not loaded. Juju will be all right. Valdez-Scantling will help in the deep with deep balls. They still have Travis Kelce, so yeah. But I just don't see him winning the Super Bowl, let alone maybe even their division, because that division is stacked. Teo Boyd said me. All right, dude. All right.
Place your bets now, folks. Teo Boyd on the parlay.
Got a sleeper pick going.
Absolutely.
All right. Landon Weber said Colts, Matt Ryan is going to have a good year. Listen, he might have a good year, but I think in order for them to be a Super Bowl team, he has to have a great year.
As in like MVP level, remember?
Yeah. And the pass catching core may not even be better than what he had last year. Because last year, at least he had Calvin Ridley, he had Russell Gage, he had Kyle Pitts. He had pieces to throw to. Now he just has Michael Pittman and a couple other decent pieces. Derek Hool said, Denver Broncos, let's ride. I like that. That's become a trend, and it's kind of funny. Denver Broncos, that's my Super Bowl pick. And I think that's a team that looks like they could really do a lot.
Yeah.
Like they could go far. Leo Koivu. I'll find his pronunciation soon. But he said Raiders. So that seems to be a sleeper pick for a lot of people. A team that everyone thinks like they could do a lot, and they could be very good. Their offensive line is not good enough, and I don't think their safety, I don't think their secondary in general is good enough. So I'm not a big fan of the Raiders. They could make the playoffs, but I don't know about Super Bowl. Jad Nowaman, I'm not sure how the pronunciation works with that, said Ravens. That's an interesting one.
Perhaps. He's probably already made a friend in Justin Tucker.
Probably. Tuck's watching this and he's jumping for joy right now. And I like the Ravens have a lot of question marks on their team. Their defense looks like it's going to be as good as it's ever been. And Lamar Jackson's healthy-ish. It's just I wonder how healthy their running back core is. That's a big question mark. And I also wonder how Rashad Bateman will fare as their new wide receiver one. That's a question mark.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, I don't believe they have very much depth at the wide receiver position. Past Rashad Bateman, I mean, they can throw it to Mark Andrews, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So Zach Myokes, something like that, said Bengals or Saints. So we've covered a couple of those on the fan box questions, but I just don't see the Bengals. I don't see the Saints just because of the offensive line issue. And I also question whether or not Jameis Winston can lead a team to a Super Bowl yet. We haven't seen him at his best at all throughout his entire career. He's been in the league since 2015. Is still a massive question mark, which says something about Jameis Winston. Bengals, they've improved a lot in the spots where they needed to improve this offseason. Just unfortunately for them, history does not see it that way. Where they Star Wars quote there.
Oh yeah.
Where the team that loses a Super Bowl goes back and wins it, especially with a young quarterback. Somehow there's just some sort of mental thing with it. Nothing analytical about it, but I mean, if they didn't lose a Super Bowl last year, I would have them. I think I would have them. Very good quarterback, awesome weapons in the pass catching corps. Good running back, very much improved offensive line, improved defense, much more balanced defense too. That defensive backfield had a lot of questions. Now I think they've worked on it a little bit. So yeah, the Bengals. I mean, they could be contenders. I don't know about them winning the Super Bowl, but that is all of our responses. You have anything else to say before we end the show, CJ?
Nope.
All right. Speak now or forever hold your peace. All right. Well, that'll do it That'll do it for us tonight. Thank you for listening to us. Be sure to tune in to us Tuesdays and Fridays at 7:30. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We also have all our episodes available on Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and so much more. Also, be sure to follow our Instagram at Fumblerooski_podcast to keep up with our podcast and the latest coverage on the NFL. Otherwise, we will see you next week. Over and out.